Hey, welcome back to RJ the Bus Man. Today, a tip about road rage. Now, you know what road rage is? It's when people throw tantrums. I mean, here's a story. I was 3 years old, and this is my first time I remember throwing a tantrum. I'm still a little embarrassed about it. I was 3 years old, and my mom saw that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was playing at the Montauk Theater in Passaic, 1953. And I was 3 years old. And my sister was 4, and she asked us if we would like to go see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, yeah, right? And back then, everything was black and white. My father used to build television sets by hand. Seriously. He'd order the cabinets. That was his business. He'd build these TVs by hand, get the chassis, have them chromed. The chassis was where you put all the tubes, the electric tubes, and the wires went underneath and so on. And the big cathode ray tube was put in there, and the magnets and all that stuff was put in. And then he had a shop up front where he would sell handmade televisions. 1947, 48, 49, 50, 51. I think he started in 48. Anyway, so when he built the TV, naturally we had television, and I was born having a TV in the house. But everything was black and white. And the cartoons that were then in 1952, 53 were silent cartoons. Farmer Gray cartoons was predominantly one. We had little shows, the Howdy Doody show. Right? Anyway, so Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was playing. My mom asked us, told us about it. Yeah, we want to go see. And Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was in color. Wow, on the big screen. Big cartoon in color. It was nothing like I saw on television. It was just mind blowing. I was so taken with it. And of course, it was a matinee in the afternoon. So after the movie was over, they said, it'll be showing again in 15 minutes. Wow, we could see it again in 15 minutes? That's what I wanted to do. And my mom told me, no, we have to go home, get dinner ready, and so on. Well, I wanted to stay. And I wanted to stay. And nothing else mattered to me at 3. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go home and eat. I wanted to see this movie again, this beautiful thing. So I started throwing a tantrum. And I recall my mother pulling me across Main Street in Passaic, and I was pulling back, and I was screaming, crying, and throwing a tantrum, little kid tantrum. Well, I've learned that as we grow, that little kid in us that throws tantrums is still there. Yeah, still there. Asleep, but still there. And what wakes that little kid up is when somebody does something to us that wakes that kid up, right? Does something we don't like, pushes our button. The next time I knew I threw a tantrum was I was about 17, and I was going somewhere with a friend of mine, Fred. I had a Volkswagen Beetle, 1964, I think it was, 65, something like that. Anyway, we're riding on the highway, and somebody cut me off. I mean, it was really, really close. It was right there. I mean, geez, if I didn't react in time, it would have been bad. And that little kid woke up. And the guy took off, and I took off after this guy. And I was doing 70, 75, whatever that little car was doing. I was doing, and I was catching that guy too. I was getting him. I was focused. I was angry. I was getting him. I was, Arr. And then my friend Fred said to me, Rick, he asked, what are you going to do when you catch him? I hadn't thought about it. What am I going to do? Yeah. What am I going to do when I catch him? Are we going to fight? Is it going to be, what? And I was brought back to sanity from that unconscious road rage, that temper tantrum. And I took my foot off the gas, ended the chase. We went on our way. Nothing bad happened to either one of us. Right? Years later, 10 years later, I'm driving a bus in Los Angeles, RTD. I'm on Hollywood Boulevard, going from the ocean to downtown LA, and I'm running a matinee. Just so happens, right? So I'm getting off at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is rush hour, afternoon rush hour. So this little kid gets on the bus with his sister. Look, it must have been 8, 9 years old. Hands me a senior citizen pass. That's like a regular pass, but it has this big red stripe on it. You know, senior citizen. Look at this kid. Like, you're not a senior citizen. And I tucked it in my pocket. And I said, have your grandparent come to Division 7 and pick up the pass. Well, I let him ride. Yeah. So he blocks later, he's getting off the bus, and then a bunch of people are getting off the bus. And then when the last guy gets off the bus, he steps in the doorway and throws something at me. And I put my hand up, and it hit my hand, deflected to the back of my head, and something was all over everything. And I looked, it was Hollywood blood. He soaked the tissue in Hollywood blood and threw it at me. Well, assault. And this stuff, the little guy woke up. Yeah, woke up like that. And I was just getting out of the chair, and I heard Fred again go, what are you going to do when you catch him? And I thought, grab him, hold him, police are going to get there, police reports, fill it out. I'm going to hold up everybody on the bus. Everybody waiting, expecting me down the line. I closed the doors and took off. Forget about it. Forget about it. I didn't let the rage take over. I thought about it. Well, get to the next stop, open the doors, people get on, they see there's blood over everything, me over. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, what happened? I said, well, the guy wouldn't take no for an answer, and I had to hit him twice. And matinees, think about this. People that ride the bus are commuters, right? Tourists, people that are too young to drive, people that are too old to drive, people that are too poor to drive, and people that are too crazy to drive. So when you've got the tourists and the commuters gone and the kids are gone, who's left? Right? People that are too poor, too drunk, and too crazy. Those are your riders. Matinees, that's who you get. After 8 o'clock at night to midnight, that's who you're dealing with. Well, with blood all over the place, right? I had no problem. It's like, gee, this should have happened to me long ago, right? This is good stuff. So the key thing here is check yourself. If somebody does something stupid, maybe they didn't see you, right? Check yourself, right? Wow. Grow past that little kid. Be mature. Get past that little kid. And you'll do okay. Don't let road rage take over. If somebody's in road rage, let them go. Don't argue. Don't do anything. Let them go. You want to see road rage? Watch YouTube where police are arresting drunk drivers. And you see people, they're in handcuffs, they're going to be put in the car, and they refuse to go in the car. They start fighting back. They're screaming. They're yelling. They're throwing a tantrum. It's a little kid. These are, quote, mature people in their 30s, 40s, throwing tantrums, fighting the police. Like you're going to win, right? Tantrums. They're not thinking that they just went from a ticket maybe to now felonies. Okay? Bad idea. But that happens. Ever hear of domestic violence? Yeah. Road rage. That's road rage. Right? Same thing. Throwing a tantrum. We're supposed to grow up to be mature where we don't throw tantrums anymore. So, when you're driving, which is an emotional pursuit here, okay, realize it's very emotional. If something happens out there that's not normally happening in your life at that time, be aware of it. Just be aware of it. And if that anger starts coming up, check it. Why? What do you do when you catch them? Hold that. If that works for you, and I hope it does, that's perfect. Until next time, drive safely and be well.